What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stand Tall. Again, these are unscripted and these reflections are real time. So I have not read ahead. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive right into chapter 2 of The Art of War, verse 20. Thus it may be known that the leader of armies is the arbiter of the people's fate, the man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril. And then that is it. That wraps up chapter 2, because chapter 3, we're going to attack stratagems. So let's go over to an alternate translation. That is a lot of weight for one person, of course. So in the alternate translation, Master Sun says, hence we know that the leader of the army is in charge of the lives of the people and the safety of the nation. Cao Cao says that if the military leadership is wise, the country is safe. Mei Yao Chen says that this tells us how serious the matter of appointing military leaders is. Wang Chi says the lives of the people and the order of the nation are in charge of the generals. The difficulty of finding good leadership material is a perennial problem. That right there, finding good leadership is a perennial problem. That tells us a lot. Even back then, finding people to be leaders and to do the work and to show up was difficult, thus as it is today. And so keeping that in mind, I think let's go over and see what we can get from the Daily Stoic and find out if there's anything about leadership. And maybe, again, unscripted, November 11th from the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. It's not the thing, it's what we make of it. When you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but only our judgment of it, and you can wipe this out at a moment's notice. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8.47. I like that. Okay, so a lot of Alex Hormozy said, a lot of times he says, everyone is just one decision away from changing the rest of their life. And I think that is what Marcus is saying here, is that it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but only the way you judge it. So only your perception of what it is. And you can change that at a moment's notice. Imagine you've dreamed of a life in politics. You're young, you're vigorous, and you've held increasingly powerful positions over the course of your career. Then, at 39, you start to feel run down. Your doctors tell you that you have polio and your life will never be the same. Your career is over, right? This is a story of FDR, known widely regarded as one of America's greatest political leaders. He was, at middle age, diagnosed with polio after spending years preparing for and dreaming about the presidency. It's impossible to understand FDR without understanding this disability. The external thing that he was crippled, this was a literal fact, but his judgment of it was that it did not cripple his career or his personhood. Though he was certainly the victim of then incurable disease, he wiped away almost immediately the victim mentality. Let's not confuse acceptance with passivity. Oh, I just got chills. Okay, because how many times do I repeat a setback is just a setup for a comeback? Something that I learned from my uncle, who is very successful in his own right. And acceptance is not passivity, right? So just because something bad happened to you doesn't mean that you have to become the victim, because that's what the world wants. The world wants more victims. The world wants you to give up, because then there's just less competition, right? Because it's a jungle. I mean, just like Ray Dalio says in Principles, I glance over at it, here on my desk. It is a jungle out there, and you have to look to nature to define things and to understand the way that the world works. And so then thus, given that fact, if the competition wants you to be a victim, the competition wants you to buy things in order to make your life better, so all of this stuff, there's a lot to reflect on, and that's a weighted statement. But the perennial problem that Sun Tzu says is finding leadership. And that's the perennial problem within ourselves, is finding that voice to be a leader, to tell ourselves to get up, to make the decision like Marcus Aurelius says, and to change your mind on a moment's notice.